Thanks for joining us for the City of Maple Grove Report. I'm Dave Kaiser from Xfinity, along with Heidi Nelson, Maple Grove City Administrator. Welcome once again.
Thank you.
We have a lot to talk about today, so we're going to get right to it. There was a meeting before the council meeting on December 2nd, a closed session, and then we'll also talk about that meeting on the 2nd. And a lot happening in the city, as you might imagine, around the holidays, so we'll get to that in just a second. But let's begin with the closed session ahead of the council meeting. Give us a recap of what that was about.
Yeah, so this was our closed session to discuss labor negotiation strategies. So we have 6 unions at the city, 4 of them represented by LELS in the police department, and then 2 49ers with our public works and parks units. So we had 5 of the contracts that we had pretty much tentative agreements on. So we wanted to talk with the council and review that before those contracts would become back to the council on December 16th. 1 trailing contract in the police department for their admin support staff, and so we'll see that probably come back after the first of the year.
Very good. And you'll hear us mention the December 16th meeting quite a few times because there's a lot that's going to happen at that meeting. More in just a minute. Nothing pulled from consent in the meeting, but you wanted to highlight one note related to the fire department. Yeah,
so we have brought in some, for the last month, some consulting help, and now shifting into having an individual help us in an interim fire department chief role, and that's Charlie Thompson. Charlie, long service in the fire, standing service in the fire service, over 40 years. Most recently was the chief in Columbia Heights. Prior to that, Anoka Champlin, and then prior to that was in Columbia Heights again, and then some service out in St. Michael as well. So Charlie has a long history of service, and so he will be with us here probably through maybe the spring months, April or so, March, April. We're going to get out to recruit for a fire chief here after the first of the year. So grateful that Charlie was available to us to come in and help. So yeah, this just shifted him from that consulting role to being the interim chief for the coming months.
Very good. Next on the meeting was the open forum, and there were quite a few cards sent in by the public to ask to speak, and there was one topic that was the big topic. Give us a little recap of that, and again, what might be coming forward.
Yeah, I think this will probably continue to be a topic of discussion going into the new year here is, in the last legislative session, the legislature passed legislation that's titled Sacred Settlement, and what it really allows for is the creation of kind of a tiny house development on a church property that would house people that are experiencing homelessness. And during the legislative session when this was being considered, I think there was a lot of concern raised by cities that really it didn't give cities any zoning control or any opportunity to put any regulation on this type of development or require anything further than what was laid out in state law. So it really usurped local zoning control. And that has been a tough thing, right, for the neighborhood to kind of understand where, what the city can and cannot do. But really this sort of tied the hands of cities, the state legislature, this action. So this will likely be something that continues to be in front of the council. Currently there's a proposal by Church of the Open Door to do a sacred settlement on their property. There's been a couple of neighborhood meetings there. Church of the Open Door kind of located up in the northwest corner of the city. They are planning some additional meetings in the new year here, January 7th. There's something planned in the evening. So just for awareness, I think good to go out and do some research about what was passed at the legislature. And then, if you concerns, reach out to your local legislators here that serve the Maple Grove area to have discussions about that. But we're happy to listen and facilitate. We really don't have a lot of authority here because that was sort of, prescribed in state law. So this is a topic that likely will continue into 2025.
Very good. More to come on that. Now to the public hearings. First was the 2025 budget. It is the annual Truth and Taxation hearing. Tell us a little bit about that discussion and what type of feedback you heard from residents.
Yeah, so this 2025 general fund budget hearing, we did have 3 residents come, and I think some of it is always understanding the relationship between the increase in your property value and then what we talk about is sort of the average home and the average home value. Residential property values didn't move a whole lot for this 2025 payable tax year. We had some movement on the commercial industrial side that shifted a little bit of the tax burden back to the residential side. It's really sort of this pie that gets divvied up between all of the valuation in the city. And so when values swing from, either commercial industrial to residential, residential, sometimes that can impact taxes. But on average, our average home value in Maple Grove is just over $350,000. Average impact here was about $60 on the year. Now, if your property value went up greater than, say, 1%, likely that number is a little bit greater. And I think it's always important to realize the city is really about 25% of that tax bill. Your other taxing jurisdictions with the county and the school district, and now the school district has a new levy that has come on. And so I think it's important to kind of look at that breakdown too there and understand. We did have a 6.69% increase in the levy this year. I think it's really reflective of kind of inflationary pressures on wages, the cost of equipment, those types of things. So this is kind of where the budgets come in. I think good feedback from residents. We certainly understand and appreciate that, but need to maintain providing services and just the cost of goods and our ability to do that. The cost is increasing, very similar to in people's homes. So good budget hearing. This will come back on December 16th for final adoption of that levy, as well as our EDA levy that evening.
How does that 6.9 rank with other cities in the metro area? I know there's always a watch of how that plan pans out.
Yeah, on the lower end. We tend to be on the lower end. We tend to be on the lowest end of the per capita tax, the cost annually for city services, that type of thing. So we monitor that very closely in terms of where others are falling out in that levy. And I think the council has always tried to take a pretty conservative approach. I think the challenge right now is just, we talk about, a piece of fire apparatus has increased by 40 to 60% in terms of cost of that fire apparatus, and so those types of things trickle through to the budget in terms of how we're paying for equipment and wage pressures, those types of things. It's very important that we maintain good police officers, good public works staff. We have to stay competitive, otherwise we're going to lose staff to other jurisdictions, and we see that happening a lot. There isn't the workforce out there that there used to be, and so all of those things kind of come together to put those pressures, but I think the council worked hard to get to that 6.9%.
And again, back on December 16th will be the final passage of the budget. Next public hearing, tax abatement for LTF Real Estate Company. And again, this was continued, and there's a little more information behind this. Yeah,
so in early November, the city announced that we have a deal with Lifetime Fitness to do a real estate exchange. Lots of information available out there on the city website, the growingtogethermaplegrove.org website if you want to read more about it. Basically, the city would acquire some land up by the hospital and then exchange that for the deed to the existing Lifetime Club there that's connected to the community center.
Right.
We had hoped to hit December 2nd with all those agreements, but now we're pushing towards December 16th. Okay. So we had published the hearing for the tax abatement. That's a component of that deal. And that then will happen on December 16th. So we opened the hearing and continued it to that next meeting.
Very good. And continue with that same topic, community and economic development, Lifetime Fitness, planned unit development, concept stage plan was discussed. So give us a recap of what the presentation was there.
Yeah, so this is kind of the land use side of that deal with Lifetime, as they needed to come in and get their concept stage approval for the club. They also have some associated housing with that. Their development is on about 17.5 acres there, kind of just north of the hospital. The hospital owns kind of about 20 acres behind the existing hospital property that's there for their expansion. This would go just west of Home Depot, north of kind of that ring road there. So got their concept stage in, and then the platting that needed to be done to be able to convey that land. So again, about 17.5 acres up there platted for this purpose, and then their concept stage plan for both the club and the associated housing was approved.
Very good. Public hearing item related to Boston Scientific, not a public hearing, just a community economic development item, and this was moved to January.
Yeah, so this is for expansion of the 4th building over on the Weaver Lake campus for Boston Scientific. They wanted a little bit more time as following up from Planning Commission, so this one will come back to the City Council in January.
And final note in this area, Heartland Dental, something that's coming over near the Hy-Vee. Give us a recap of that proposal.
Yeah, 101 Bass Lake Road, another development and kind of the outlots out in front of the Hy-Vee store there. So a dental clinic, Heartland Dental, very attractive building, and so we're excited to see them joining Maple Grove out there at 101 and Bass Lake Road.
Some upcoming items and some that just happened. First was the Maple Grove Business Association. They just held their annual meeting.
Yeah, that was last evening over at the Osseo Legion. So that's always a good gathering of all of our business community to talk about all the events that Maple Grove Business Association is part of throughout the year, and just a good update and then kind of a preview of what they're working on for 2025 as well.
Very good. Looking ahead to December 9th, Planning Commission, what's on the agenda there?
Yeah, so Maple Grove Senior High, that expansion, that will be coming back before the council. That was tabled at the last meeting coming out of Planning Commission. And then the final building in the Arbor Lakes Business Park, building number 9. This is an Endeavor project. So this one will sit kind of right between the new MSI building there and then the Boston Scientific campus that's under construction out on 94. So last building of that first phase of the Arbor Lakes Business Park getting completed. I think this has all happened over the last 5 years, so pretty miraculous. And we continue to see, a couple of those buildings just sold out in that development for a very high value. We continue to see very positive feedback from investors about the location of that and its proximity to the retail and the restaurants and how that's really good for business for the folks that live and or the folks that work there.
Sure.
And so, yeah, very successful development out there and great businesses living in those buildings.
A few other notes of dates coming up and some special occasions. One is Santa at the Shops, big event coming up on the 7th.
Yeah, so that's this coming Saturday from 2 to 6 out at the shops. There will be a parade at 5 p.m. and Santa will be there for that. And so this is put on by the Maple Grove Business Association, but we participate as well. Experience Maple Grove. It's kind of a all hands on deck event for the holidays.
And then I-94 Chamber having an event coming up soon as well.
Yeah, December 10th is their holiday luncheon. They do a toy drive there, provide business updates, that type of thing, up at the Rogers Event Center. So if you're interested in that, information available on the I-94 West Chamber website.
Engineering Public Works, just one note here. Something's coming up that the public can give some feedback about transit. What's this?
Yeah, well, you'll recall we authorized a study in conjunction with the City of Plymouth on our transit services, not only looking at our express routes, but also looking at our very popular microtransit, MyRide, and Plymouth has a similar service as well. So we are going to be out doing a survey to find out how riders feel about the express bus service that runs between Maple Grove and Minneapolis, and then also looking at the microtransit pieces of this. So the survey is available on the city website, and input is appreciated or accepted through December 23rd, and then that information kind of will help to inform some of the study work that's going to be going on over the next year.
Website maplegrovemn.gov. Go there and look for that survey. You had a couple final notes. Angel of Hope event is coming up on Friday.
Yeah, so this is up at the Maple Grove Arboretum just off of County Road 30 in Fernbrook. It's always on December 6th at 7 p.m. every year. So this year it falls on Friday, December 6th at 7 p.m. Just a great evening to be out for those that have experienced loss in their lives, and encourage people to bring a white rose to leave at the memorial. And this is put on by the Friends of the Angel group as well as our Park and Rec team.
Experience Maple Grove has been busy with lights. Where are these amazing lights? Yeah,
so they started doing the lighting along Main Street, last year when we were attempting to have the ice castles happen in the winter. That didn't happen. But that's moved to St. Paul. But so no ice castles in Maple Grove this year, but continuing with the holiday lighting up and down Main Street. So it's very, very wonderful if you have a chance to drive through.
And again, the next council meeting is December 16th, and that is the last one of the year.
That is it.
A recap after that. That's it from the meeting on the 2nd. Now let's go to some other things happening around the city. Begin with city offices closed for a short period of time coming up. What's happening?
Yeah, so on the morning of December 12th, we host an employee recognition event, provide years of service awards to our very valued employees in the city. The event runs from 7:30 to 9:30 in the morning, so we do close our city offices to allow all employees to be able to attend that. So it's just a great morning of recognition and fellowship for our employees.
Publications are out for you to stay in touch with what's happening in and around the city. The first is the winter newsletter, and then Mistletoe and Memory. So lots of reading for people to do.
Yep, available on the website, and there's printed publications as well.
Very good. So look for those. We'll talk about another one in just a moment. Organics. We talked about organics quite a ways back as things were happening through the state, and it seemed like a long ways away, but it's here coming up in January. Give us a reminder about what we need to look for as residents.
Yeah, so in January of 2025, we're going to be making the transition to roll organics recycling into the city's recycling program. If you recall, there was a mandate by Hennepin County that we had to provide organic services in every city in Hennepin County, and then kind of a following on that, a clarification in state law that everybody had to pay for organics,
Right.
whether they participated or not, similar to traditional recycling. Because of that and sort of the anomalies that were happening out there with the private haulers, sort of fees all over the place, kind of different operating methods for that organics collection, the decision was made to roll that into the city's organics program. And I think what we see is that it's going to be less cost than what was being done by the private haulers, and then that gets rolled into a more regular recycling program. So lots of information available out there on our website. We do need you to sign up by December 13th so that you get to be part of that January 6th rollout. And then folks will start to see that on their utility bill. The private haulers are no longer able to bill for that, and they've been told that. And so if that shows up on your bill in the first quarter of 2025, good to give them a call and good to give us a call, because we've been very clear with them that this is a transition point, and they can no longer bill for that service. So lots of change coming here. We're prepared for it. We know we have a lot of people prepared to be able to field calls, that type of thing. We know this is a transition point for this program, but kind of looking forward to see how it rolls out in the coming year.
Again, look to the city's website to find out more about that. This time of the year is always the time of the year the city's looking at commission openings, and you've got a few. Tell us about the commissions that have some openings and what those commissions do for the city.
Yeah, so we have let's see. Oh, we have 2 at-large members for the Lake Quality Commission that are open, 2 seats open, and then 1 member to serve as a Pike Lake representative and 1 member to serve as an Edward Lake representative. So lots of openings available there. Applications are accepted through 4:30 p.m. on Wednesday, December 18th. So we're out looking for that. So the commissioners here on the Lake Quality Commission focus on activities on or near the water and act in an advisory capacity to the City Council. So very active commission and lots of representation from folks that live on the lakes.
Exactly.
We're also looking for 2 Planning Commission members. So one of the Planning Commission members, of course, was elected to City Council, so that, and then 1 member who's choosing to depart from the Planning Commission. That period of application is a little bit longer. Friday, January 10th, applications are accepted through 4:30 p.m. And of course, the Planning Commission, a very key role in the city. They weigh in on long-range planning issues as well as zoning matters. All development applications come before the Planning Commission. They can meet up to twice a month, depending on whether we have applications, that type of thing. So important role for the city and a great way to get involved.
Here's another way to get involved. It's through the police reserves. Tell us a little bit about that fine group and what people can do to get signed up.
Yeah, so applications are open today for the Maple Grove Police Reserves. It's a great way for residents to get involved in the community and gain new skills. We do have, a wide range of age groups and backgrounds that serve on our Maple Grove Reserves, and so more information available on the city's website about how to apply to be part of the police reserves.
Let's talk about the Citizens Police Academy. That group graduated recently. Tell us a little bit about what they learned and what they now do as they serve the community.
Yeah, so this graduation was held last night after an 11-week program. Just a lot of great feedback. They go through, different components of law enforcement and public safety in the Maple Grove community, get some exposure also to the county, jail, those types of things that are happening at the county level. So I think it just really gives people particular insight into the world of law enforcement. And of course, there's been a lot of challenges too in the law enforcement field, in the last 4 or 5 years. And so I think it's a great program. If you have questions or concerns, think about applying to be part of that Citizens Police Academy in the coming years. It's a really great program.
Very good. Domestic Violence Awareness, a city campaign is underway. Give us some background on that campaign and where people can see this visually.
Yeah, so the holidays I think always bring a heightened concern about domestic violence issues, and particularly as people are gathering with family during the holidays, really want to make sure there's an awareness of what the common signs of domestic violence or domestic abuse might be, that you can pay attention to when you're gathering with family. Letting people know they're not alone, there's help available. We do have some billboards going on out on 694 just to raise awareness and provide resources out there. So just trying to keep this at the front of everybody's thoughts as we go into the holiday weeks.
Speaking of holidays, here's the way the city is partnering with a great organization to hopefully get some toys and other items in. The partner is Cross. Tell us how this toy drive works.
Yeah, so the toy drive is open through December 19th. We need new unwrapped toys for children 10 years of age or younger. Can be dropped off between 8 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. at the Government Center, Public Safety Facility, Community Center, and then at Public Works. And then for the older kids, they're really just looking for gift card donations from children for 11 to 17. And those, we just ask you to bring those to the police department from 8 to 4:30. So great to partner with Cross at this time of the year. Check out the Cross website. They also accept direct donations to support their holiday programs with food and gifts and those types of things. So they serve our residents here in this community, so always good to support them during the holidays.
Here's a fun opportunity for some younger ones in the city. Mayor for a Day contest, and you have a partner you work with on this as well.
Yeah, so this is a League of Minnesota Cities program. It's open through December 13th. You submit your essay on the league website, so it's lmc.org, and then Mayor for a Day program. You can go out and look for that. So it's accepting entries from 4th, 5th, and 6th graders throughout Minnesota for this contest.
We know a lot of people out shopping here as the holidays approach, and listen to this. We've got a list of new businesses in town that you just might want to stop in and check out.
Yeah.
What are they?
It's great to see retail being occupied and you know, thriving during this holiday season. So Hickory Farms is here for the holidays. MSI is that building up along 694 there that I mentioned, and that's the regional showroom and distribution center for high quality surface finishes to commercial customers. Rally House, that's over kind of in the run with Barnes & Noble. Sitka over at the shops at Arbor Lakes, very popular hunting gear, kind of higher end hunting gear. Soda, that's a new dirty soda, pop with cream syrups and other flavors mixed in. I don't get it, but my teenage kids love it.
Very good.
It's over at the Fountains. Soda Clothing, that one is over at the shops at Arbor Lakes. And then Swing City Racket Sports for all things pickleball and tennis. That one is just off of Elm Creek Boulevard. So congrats to all these businesses. We're grateful for your investment in Maple Grove and just keeping us a thriving retail environment.
Yeah, get out and do some shopping. We mentioned guides earlier. One more guide to mention, Winter Activity Guide. Tell us about this and how this is important for residents right now.
Yeah, so Winter Activity Guide through our Park and Rec program. It's all the winter and spring programs that run from January to April. Just kind of a synopsis in that guide, and then lots of programs available online.
Yep, registration right now, so get involved with that. All right, we talked last time about when will the skating loop open. It opened, and it is popular once again.
Yeah, so that opened the day after Thanksgiving. Very popular site, and this weather is helping us out here. I know it's going to be a little warmer over the weekend, but it's all good once we've got that ice situated. So skating is free. People are invited to bring their own skates, but we also do rentals and sharpening there.
Great spot. All right, Farmers Market, this is another shopping opportunity, maybe something different than the other stores. When's the market open?
Yeah, December 5th and the 19th. We have them indoor markets at the community center. Hours are 3 to 6 p.m. and we do get over 20 vendors for those indoor markets, so it's a great place for your holiday shopping.
The Maple Grove Historical Society is getting to the holiday fun as well. Tell us about the neat thing they have going on at the museum. Ties in winter very well. Yeah,
it's great. This is the I'm Dreaming of a White Christmas theme for the display at the Maple Grove History Museum. This is the, Irving Berlin, made popular by Bing Crosby shortly after the bombing of Pearl Harbor. So they have mannequins dressed in their World War II and Vietnam era uniforms and all kinds of, different pieces to remember that time and White Christmas. So this museum will be open on Sunday, December 8th from 1 to 4 p.m. And of course, that History Museum is located just kind of on the south end of Public Works there off of Forest View Lane.
Right. Yeah, stop by and give a look at that. Final note to pass along, Santa appearance coming up at a popular spot, The Loop. Tell us when Santa's there.
Yeah, so this is kind of the grand celebration of, our Rotary Club partners with Park and Rec to put up all the lights at Central Park. They do a great job. Many thanks to Doug Baines and the team for getting this done every year. So on Saturday, December 14th from 5 to 8 p.m., Santa and Mrs. Claus will be out there for skating, the lights, music at Central Park. Again, you know, bring your own skates. It's a free event for folks, and there's non-perishable food and toy donations are being accepted that evening for Cross as well. And we have concessions there and the fire pit's going. It's going to be a great evening on Saturday, December 14th from 5 to 8 out at Central Park.
Hope you can get involved. We'll let Heidi catch your breath here. A lot of information today. That is it for the meeting from the 2nd and what's happening in the city. Let's look ahead to the next council meeting. That will be on December 16th, as we mentioned a few times, 7:30 at the Government Center. Again, lower left, maplegrovemn.gov, all the information that we've talked about today and much more about the city. For Heidi Nelson, I'm Dave Kaiser. Thanks for joining us on the City of Maple Grove Report.